This is Eric Brotman, the host of Don't Retire, Graduate, the podcast that asks you what you want to be when you grow up so you can graduate into retirement with a purpose and a passion. Welcome to our Diary of a Financial Advisor segment, where we interview financial advisors about their professional journeys and their passion for helping others succeed. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by BFG's own Cody Niedermeier. Cody, welcome to Diary of a Financial Advisor.
Eric, it's an honor to be here.
So I need you to introduce yourself to our audience first and foremost, a little bit about you and a little bit about how you got to BFG, and then we'll talk a little bit about our topic today, which is planning for a family.
Yeah. So the short and sweet version of this, Eric, is you actually got me to BFG, and it was through a neighbor. So conversations just using the network that I had, I got an introduction to Eric, and we had a phone call where I believe the first thing you told me was, we're not hiring. And you gave me an introduction to the industry, which I appreciate. And from there, we were able to have another conversation, because I think once we got off the call, you said, you know what? Come on into the office. Let me show you around a little bit.
So you're saying I should have stuck to my guns and said, we're not hiring.
I am saying that's 6 years
what
later
happened.
now.
6 years later.
You made a mistake, but here we are.
Good. It's good stuff. And so now you've been with BFG 6 years. You have a significant number of clients for whom you are the relationship manager. You're doing business development. You're involved with so many of the different committees of the firm. You're a key member of the team. What do you love about what you do?
I love that every day when I get up and get into the office, I get the opportunity to help people. I get the opportunity to provide services to people that weren't available to my family when I was growing up. And that's something I'm passionate about, of being able to provide those resources to those that didn't previously have that access.
So today's topic for the diary entry is planning for a family, which is apropos based on the fact that you and your bride are expecting your first.
Yes, we are. And it's different sitting on this side of the table.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you.
And secondly, I'm not going to ask you if you're ready, because no one's ever actually ready for that.
Absolutely.
But planning for a family is something that young couples need to think about. Is this something they want to do? Do you want to have children? Do you not want to have children? And you can get as personal as you'd like with us here, but how did that come to be? I know how it came to be, but how did it come to be that you guys said, we're ready, let's start a family?
Yeah. So just like a lot of things we talk about in the office, it started when we were dating and having those conversations of what does a future look like, especially if we were going to go the marriage route. And then, hey, do you want kids? Do I want kids? And luckily in that situation, the answer was both yes. And even more lucky, my wife said yes when I asked her to marry me.
We're still not sure how that happened. I was, for those of you watching, I was at the wedding, so they are in fact married. I did see that happen. It was a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. So you're expecting your first. That means making changes to the house. That means making changes to the budget. That means making changes to lifestyle and certain commitments and certain habits. And a lot's going to change. And of course, you don't really know what you don't know yet, because this little package has not yet arrived. But how are you preparing yourselves? Let's start with financially. How are you preparing yourselves financially for what's coming next? Because it is expensive to have children.
Well, financially in our family I have a breakdown of what a nursery should cost, and I've been to Target 3 times this week. So we're not sticking to that plan by any means. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the conversations, especially initially when we found out we were pregnant, were around the fact of, hey, what does daycare look like? That was the first thing that popped in our minds of, how do our schedules change as both full-time working individuals and adjusting to what life looks like moving forward? So we've been having a lot of conversations around, my wife Nellie, she is a nurse, of adjusting her schedule from dropping some hours, still being full-time, but being able to drop those hours, and then looking at our different resources of, hey, what does daycare look like? And I think 99% of the people listening to this are going to say it's too dang expensive, and I agree.
Well, if you're going to spend money on something, spending money on your child, I think you'll find is both rewarding and sometimes shocking.
Yeah.
Tuition comes down the pike. I mean, you're going to be thinking about college before you're even, learning how to diaper. It's one of those things. And as a financial advisor, we think about the financial impact of children, which is one of the reasons why my wife and I only have one, is because we think about it. We know what that looks like. Now, in terms of logistics, you said you've been to Target a bunch. you have to make the house sort of kid ready. What does that look like in your household? Because we did it almost 15 years ago. So things have changed a little since then. So what did that look like for you guys?
I would go on a limb and say things have changed a lot since you were getting into this business. But it's definitely a lot of research, a lot of forwarded messages and articles from friends and family, because everybody has an opinion.
Oh, yeah.
But most importantly, having conversations with my wife of what we want it to look like. So within those trips to Target, instead of the sharp corner coffee table, we're looking at rounded corners or getting things to help lock up the cabinets that are reachable on the ground. And we will have some time prior to the baby moving around a little bit, but we're trying to be proactive in our approach and making sure the house is a safe place, not only for them, but for me.
Yeah. So there's you'll have, if you have stairs at home, you'll have baby gate.
Absolutely.
Of course. I can tell you that I did at least once trip over said baby gate and slam onto the floor, which gave my wife a great scare because she thought it was our daughter. Mm-hmm. And when she found out it was me, it was perfectly fine. That's true. Yes. At least it was me. So you're going to baby proof the house a little bit. You're going to begin to make some changes. Have you guys thought about, and I know that's it's really premature because you don't know what kind of learner your kid might be, but have you thought about how education and healthcare both, which become big expenses, daycare, healthcare, and education are sort of the three big ones. Yeah. Have you thought about how you want to handle that? Are you in an area where public school is an option? Are you looking at private school options? What does that look like for you guys?
Right now, everything's on the table. We definitely have some influence in our office to a couple private schools. We have had friends and we've had some family go through homeschooling, and what does that look like? Mm-hmm. And again, to build on the daycare side of things, I'm lucky enough to be in a situation where my mother-in-law is considering, and I believe proceeding with the move to be around to help us out on both fronts, which I think we are greatly blessed to be in that situation because not everybody is. And then there's still public school opportunity too. So I think we're weighing all of our options. And again, luckily we have some time, but we definitely have our whiteboard on the wall with the pros and cons of each.
Now, in putting your professional hat on, as a financial advisor, you've worked with dozens, if not hundreds of couples and families. And you've worked with folks who have been surprised with twins or triplets, because that happens. I think you've already ruled that out, right?
Yes. First question.
Yeah. First question is there just one? But you've seen those kinds of surprises. There certainly are other medical surprises. Some are not great. And obviously we don't want to think about that today, but at the end of the day, there are challenges that come across that may affect the folks you represent. How has being a financial advisor and working with clients helped you in your own journey to prepare for what's coming next for you?
Yeah, it's definitely laid out a list of items to consider throughout the entire process as well, or that would include, having a little bit more in our emergency fund for, God forbid, the circumstances where there's some extra cash that's needed for whatever be the case. Mm-hmm. And my wife's favorite conversations around making sure we have the proper life insurance in place, but also making sure estate documents are up to par, because nothing screams, hey, we're growing a family, like having conversations around bad things happening.
Well, I mean, you want to prepare for the what ifs in life, right? Absolutely. I mean, and those do take on a new meaning. I mean, you and your wife both are wage earners and completely self-sufficient financially in that regard. But once you throw a child into the mix, being a single parent in the event of a tragedy is obviously a different animal. And so, yes, some of your employee benefits will change. Some of deciding whether to use his or hers or all those various things in terms of health insurance for the little one and who has the better care and all that. Now, you talked about how being a financial advisor helped you be prepared as a new parent or starting a family. And you may not know the answer to this yet, but how do you think being a new parent will help you actually be a better financial advisor?
I absolutely have thought about this, and I think this is going to be a wait and see approach. But one of the things I imagine it being is I'm going to be able to relate to the people around me a lot more. The families that I've been giving advice to on, hey, you should be doing X, Y, and Z, and for lack of a better term, checking off these boxes to make sure everything is handled. I'm going to be able to relate to them. I'm also going to be a whole lot more tired. I'm trying to get all the sleep in that I can get now, but being able to relate to people and build that rapport and those relationships, I think is key, especially in the industry we're in.
My wife says tired isn't what you become, it's what you are. And
can't wait.
And quite frankly, and I don't know if she'll see this episode or not, but I have to fall on my own sword because most of the time she was sending me off to work and she let me sleep somewhat. So I actually got some sleep and she didn't. I think I'm paying for that now in various ways, but that's beyond the scope of this conversation.
Literally.
There are a lot of factors here, and how you handle communication with grandparents and who wants to spend time and how you handle the holidays changes a little bit.
Boundaries has been also a key word in our households.
Making sure that they don't just show up unannounced, or that they say, "Hey, guess what? I'm coming for 3 weeks." It takes a village to raise a child. It really does, and it is better for the kids, I think, when they have the different interactions with different family members. But it can be a balancing act for you. You will get to know your in-laws and outlaws better than ever before, and so first of all, I congratulate you not only on marrying a terrific gal, but starting a family. I'm excited for you as a sort of man to man, and as a financial advisor, I've watched over the last more than half decade. I've watched you come into your own. I've watched you take command of various situations. I've watched you navigate people through tough things. And it's just been a pleasure to work with you over these years. And I'm looking forward to what's next for you. Any final advice for folks thinking about starting a family?
I am currently working with another advisor at this firm to help work through the process. So do not hesitate to reach out and work with an advisor, whoever it may be, because it is different, again, when you are on this side of the table. You start looking at things differently. You start feeling about them differently. So I think one of the big things is don't hesitate to use resources that are available to you. And on the male side of things, of just doing everything I can to support my wife, I think that's going to be a focus for everyone, because you got to sleep.
I did. I got a little bit of sleep. She would say a lot. It felt like a little to me, but it was more than her. Okay. And so sorry, honey. So I can't let you off of Diary of a Financial Advisor or Don't Retire, Graduate without asking you the last question, which is, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a present father. I want to be somebody who has given everything I could to my family and just provided them with the love and support that they needed to do whatever they want to do. So I can't wait to be a dad.
Well, you're about to find out what that feels like and what it looks like, and it is. It's a love you cannot experience any other way. It's different. Yeah. You cannot prepare for it. You can't know what it's going to feel like, and as soon as it happens, it is something lights up in you that just it's inexplicable. So yeah. I know what's ahead for you. At least I think I do, and I'm happy for you. Congratulations,
you're part of the tribe.
Well, good stuff. I'd like to thank everybody for listening to Diary of a Financial Advisor today. If you enjoy our show, please subscribe, leave a rating on your favorite podcast platform, share it with your friends and family so they can join you on your journey to financial freedom. If you'd like to send us a topic or idea we may discuss on a future episode of Don't Retire, Graduate, please post it on our Facebook page or tweet us at Brotman Planning. We'll be back next week with another engaging guest, and in 2 weeks with our next entry in Diary of a Financial Advisor. For now, this is your host, Eric Brotman, reminding you, don't retire, graduate.
Securities offered through Kestra Investment Services, LLC, Kestra IS, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Kestra Advisory Services, LLC, Kestra AS, an affiliate of Kestra IS. Kestra IS or Kestra AS are not affiliated with Brotman Financial or any other entity discussed.